What's good, everybody? In this video, we're going to be doing an SAT review. We're going to look over 5 different topics and problems. Hopefully, this video is helpful for you. So, problem number 1 says, what is the area of an equilateral triangle whose sides are 10? So, number 1, equilateral triangles mean that all 3 sides are the same. So, that's the first piece of information. Number 2, we know that area for a triangle is equal to half the base times the height. Well, right now we do not know what the height is. For us to figure this out, we're going to split this triangle in half. Okay, this is going to represent our height h, and then our base now is going to be 5 and 5. So let's just cross that 10 out. So what we need to do now is use the Pythagorean theorem. That's that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. We know what c is and we know what a is, but we don't know b. So once we fill this in, we'll have 5 squared plus b squared is equal to 10 squared. And as a result, we're going to get 25 plus b squared is equal to 100. Once we simplify this, we'll have b squared is equal to 75. And then to get rid of the exponent, I'm going to take the square root. And what I do on one side, I'll do to the other. So now b is equal to the square root of 75. And this radical, we can break it down and simplify. So this is going to turn into 25 times 3. So now we'll say that b is equal to, take this square root of 25 out, and we'll have 5 radical 3 as an answer. So that's going to represent our height. Now that we know that information, let's go back in and figure out exactly what area is. So now when we fill this in, we have area is equal to half the base, right? We know the base is going to be 10, times the height, and we know the height is 5 radical 3. So once we simplify, area is equal to 5 times 5 radical 3. We're only going to multiply these two 5s together. Radical 3 stays the same. So we're going to get an answer of 25 radical 3. So when we're working with a problem like this, guys, few things that we need to come to or bring together for us to get a final answer of B. Problem number 2 now, guys. We're saying if the sum of 5 consecutive even integers is 740, what is the largest value of these integers? So what we're going to do, we're going to say that, hey, n is equal to integer number 1. And what we need to do when we're talking about consecutive even numbers, we're going to set up a formula, I should say. And remember that when we have an even number like 4, to get to the next even number, you have to add a even number to it. So 4 plus 2, 4 plus 4, and 4 plus 6. This will give us the next consecutive even integers. If we were to add odd numbers to 4, it's going to give us basically odd numbers as a sum, and that's not what we want. So when we set this equation up, we're going to have n plus n plus 2 plus n plus 4 plus n plus 6 plus n plus 8, and this is all equal to 740. We basically created an equation, and once we simplify, we're going to have 5n plus, that's 612, plus 20 is equal to 740. Subtract our 20 from both sides. We're solving like a regular equation. 5n is equal to 720. Once we divide by 5, let's see, n is equal to, let's grab the calculator real quick, double check our work. So we have 720 divided by 5. So n is equal to 144. But before we go ahead and pick D as an answer, guys, remember that's just the first integer And we have to find the second one, third one, fourth, and fifth. So what I'm going to do, let's just switch to black, right? So we have 144 for the first integer, 146 for the second integer, 148, 150, and then 152. And what they ask us for is the largest of these five integers. So the answer would not be D. Just make sure you don't make that quick assumption or that quick mistake. Make sure you write out all your integers, and the correct answer will be B, 152. And to double check, all you need to do is add all these integers together, and we should get an answer of 740, which we do. So we know that this is the correct answer. Problem number three, it's a little bit different. So I have the picture down in the bottom part of the screen. Let me know if you guys like this format. But when we look at this next problem, guys, they're telling us that there's a competition that offers 250,000 in prize money, and basically they're dividing that money or breaking it up into different proportions based on whatever place they win. And they tell us that it's divided by a ratio of 1 to 3 to 6. So this is how we could solve this problem. We could have x plus 3x plus 6x is equal to 250,000. Right? Once we set the equation up like this, guys, we'll be able to get each ratio based on the position. So we combine our like terms, we're going to get 10x is equal to 250,000. So once we divide now, I'm going to get x is equal to 25,000. So what does this answer represent? All right. For one, they're asking us the value of the largest prize money, which is going to be the ratio of 6. So right now we have x, right? It's 25,000. If we want to have 3 times it, right? So let's put 3. X would be equal to 25,000 times 3, which would give me 75,000. All right. So we know one person wins 25,000, another person wins 75,000. And for us to get that largest ratio, that largest portion, we're going to take our X, which is 25,000, and we're now going to multiply it by 6. And if I'm not mistaken, that should be 150,000. So in this problem, when they ask us, hey, what is the value of the largest prize? We would say that the value of the largest prize is going to be 150,000. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this SAT review. This is part one of about a 5-part video. We're now moving on to what is the value, and they give us an expression with fractional exponents. All right. So not only do we have to simplify what's inside the parentheses, but we also got to take this entire thing to the 1/2 power. But guys, this is much easier than it seems. So anything to the 1/2 power, right, is a square root. Square root of 4 is 2. The cube root of 8, this is all that is saying, is 2. The fourth root of 16 is 2. And the fifth root of 32 is also 2. Bring down the exponent because it doesn't go anywhere, right? So now we do 2 times 2, 4, 8. So now we have 16 to the 1/2 power. And like I said, anything to the 1/2 power, guys, is the same thing as a square root. So once we simplify, our final answer for this problem would be 4. So this is why it's important to understand fractional exponents, rational exponents, because if you don't, it's going to be much harder than what the problem seems. Last problem of the day, guys, we're dealing with radicals and radical equations. So they give us this equation and they ask us, what is the value of the square root of x? So that is the trick right there. So when we're solving these type of equations, we know we have to get the radical by itself, before we could get rid of it. So first step, add 5 to both sides. Now we're going to square that radical to get rid of it. So I have x minus 15 is equal to 49. Add 15 to both sides. And as a result, I'll get x is equal to 64. Now everybody's going to see this and say, oh, Peters, man, this was easy. I got it. Yes, this can be easy, but guys, E is not the right answer. After we figure out what x is, it tells us to put it up under that radical, and if we could simplify, simplify. So when we think about it, right, the square root of 64, we could simplify that to get an answer of 8. And my actual answer, oops, not B, my bad, guys. The actual answer should be C, 8. So when we're talking about the SAT review, guys, just make sure you brush up on your concepts and your formulas, because everything that they ask you is going to be based off the foundation of algebra. And they just checking to see if you guys could tie concepts together and if you remember some of those very tiny and tedious rules. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. This is Algebra 1 with Mr. Peters. Thank you guys for joining us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for us, and comment down below if you have any questions or if there's any future videos you guys would like to see on our channel.